Welcome everybody to our Chocolatey Software Product Spotlight live stream for October. Only 81 days to Christmas, I know. So today, in today's live stream, we're going to look at the most recent release of Chocolatey Central Management. We run two live streams every month here at Chocolatey Software on the first and third Thursday. This live stream is where we spotlight Chocolatey products, recent releases, and important features. Our other live stream on the third Thursday of each month is the Chocolatey Community Coffee Break, where we talk to members of the Chocolatey community, discuss how you can get involved, and community updates as well. The next Chocolatey Community live stream is the 19th of October, where we'll be chatting with Chocolatey Software's own support manager, Stephen Valdinger. You can watch out for announcements of all of our Chocolatey content by visiting us on Discord, subscribing to us on YouTube here, or following us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitch. We're on all the things, and you can find all of those links to all of those social media sites at the bottom of our homepage, chocolatey.org. My name is Paul Broadwith, and I'm the Technical Engineering Manager here at Chocolatey Software, and I lead the engineering team that's responsible for the products that we'll be talking about today. My co-host today is Stephanie Hayes. She'll be taking us through the technical aspects, including a demo of new features. Steph, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Stephanie Hayes. I'm the senior software engineer here. I do a lot of the front end stuff and some of the other stuff as well. But I'm excited to go through Chocolatey Central Management today.
Awesome. As I said earlier on, we've released 0.11.0 of Chocolatey Central Management recently, and we'll be taking you through the changes in this release, or Steph will. Steph, do you want to kick off with the release notes? Actually, just before we do that, apparently my audio is not fantastic, so I apologise up front. I apparently sound a bit robotic. I promise I'm human, and I'm not a Terminator, but unfortunately my audio is a bit problematic, so we'll get that sorted for next stream. So Steph's going to be doing most of the talking, so it shouldn't be a problem. So Steph, do you want to kick us off with the release notes?
For sure. Let me go ahead and one second here, sorry. Paul, do you got any funny jokes?
I could sing a song. I could do a little. I could sing a song, but unfortunately, because my audio is a bit rubbish, it's just going to sound like a robot singing a song. I don't have any funny jokes, unfortunately. I'm trying to think of the fantastic one Rob told me recently, but it was a dad joke, so obviously safe for a live stream. But I can't remember it. No. So just to kind of go over a little bit of what we've done recently, as I said, we'd recently released a version, a 0.11.0 version of Chocolatey Central Management. If anybody's not familiar with what Chocolatey Central Management is, that is Chocolatey's central management of all of your Chocolatey nodes. So all of your clients that are running Chocolatey software will report into Chocolatey Central Management, and you can manage those nodes with deployments, which is kind of what we'll be talking about today. When we're talking about deployments, it could be packages, it could be PowerShell scripts on there that you can manage those nodes with. And also you get reporting on the software and the packages that are installed on your clients as well. So that's a very high level overview of what Chocolatey Central Management is. But Steph, you having any luck?
Yeah, I am. My permissions were not set correctly to share my screen here. So hopefully one more thing and we should be good here. All right, let's try this again. Oi. Sorry about this, guys. We thought we had worked out all the bugs here right before, but then
This is always what happens. The technical gremlins creep in when we're least expecting it.
Yeah. My screen sharing is on. It's not letting me share my screen.
Okay, let me see if I can. Can I do it? Is that my fault? No. Do you want me to share the release notes just now, Steph?
Yeah, go ahead and share the release notes.
Yeah, let me grab just open a browser here really quickly.
Okay.
There we go. Let me see if I can share screen. Let me just check. Yeah, no, there's no permissions to say can or can't share your screen, so it's not me for once. It's not me. Yeah, all looking good. Okay, let me. Yes.
Let's see here.
If I, there we go. Awesome. Make that a little bit big. Don't know. Does that shrink it? Make it bigger? There we go. It's a little bit clearer. Let me try and zoom in on that actually. That's a little clearer, I think. Okay. There we go. So there we go. That's got the screen shared there. Steph. Get rid of that.
All right. I don't know why this is not working. I'm really sorry.
That's going to spell doom for our demos.
Yeah.
That's cool. What we can do is we can go through the release notes that I've shared just now. If you want to talk through those.
Okay. So for the importing and exporting of deployment plans, we have added a new feature into Chocolatey Central Management where you can import and export deployment plans, and that comes in really useful when you may have one and you want to, import it. There's now trying to pull up my technical difficulties. Right. So when you're in Chocolatey Central Management and you're on the deployments page, there's now an import deployment button, and that's located at the top of the dashboard. So you would click that button, and then it will lead you into some steps on how to import that, and it's really simple. Paul, if you navigate to your let's see, in the docs, there is a really there's a under Chocolatey Central Management, there's a deployment section in there. And we can just maybe walk through the release notes and kind of tandem with this. That might be helpful so that we can see some screenshots and everything that we've added to this in the usage.
Usage,
website deployments. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what I'll do? Give me 1 second and I'll make things. Let me do this and create a new tab for it. That'll be easier, and then we can jump back and forward. Usage, website, deployments. There we go. There's a deployments one. Do you want to go through that just?
Yeah. So we'll just kind of go through this. If you want to scroll down to, I think there's a section where importing a deployment. So we'll do this. This works too. So you can see that main dashboard, and then we have the deployments button kind of over to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry. And there's a screenshot there on step 3. If you, in the left nav, there should be, in the right navigation, there's a importing a deployment on the right side.
Oh, the right side. Sorry. Do you know what?
Yeah, you can click that and it will take you right to it.
There we go. I actually had something overlapping that. So
yeah, click right there. There you
that
go.
one. Sorry.
Yeah,
There we go.
There, now I can kind of walk through this, and we'll walk through our docs here. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the importing deployment button. So that's what I was kind of talking about right there. We've added that in. And when you click that, if you scroll down a little bit more, there is kind of a screenshot of what the model would look like. That comes up when you choose to upload or import a deployment. And it will kind of walk you through some steps. It shows you kind of some of the steps that are in there and the deployment name. And also if a deployment step is privileged, then it will have that little yellow tag right there, just letting you know that you may not have permission to import it if you don't have those permissions for advanced deployment steps. So I put that there just for just some extra information. But after you import it, you'll be taken to the new page, which I wish I could show you this because that's really magical. But the deployment is just there and it's all filled out for you, and you're able to go from there. The only thing that you will need to adjust on here is your groups that you have on the steps. So you'll need to add in the specific groups that you want to deploy this to on each step. And we did that because the deployment step groups may have different ID numbers for each person. So in whatever groups you have, they might be different than what other people have. So those are one things that you will need to adjust after that. And right now we are working on a repository that's full of example deployments that you can import to do certain things and whatnot. And we hope to have that out really soon. So that will be really helpful to get going with deployments and importing and exporting.
I tell you what I really like about when you're importing a deployment. Is actually it doesn't just import the deployment and then you've got to go to the deployment and see or import the deployment plan, sorry. What it actually shows you is the deployment steps that you're importing as well. And it goes through those individual steps. So in this one, obviously, is take site offline, upgrade database. So you know what you're getting. You also know that the deployment deployment plan that you've selected actually is the correct one because it's got those steps there. And the privilege part I think is really cool as well, so that you don't import it, find out bits didn't import because you didn't have permission. It actually tells you beforehand, hey, you might not have permission to import this. So I think that's really good for customers to be able to determine all of that before they waste their time importing it and find out it's the wrong one or they didn't have permissions for some of the steps.
And if you scroll down a little bit more on that docs page, you'll see that screenshot right there. Yeah, right there. So in how you can export a deployment, say you've already got a deployment that you've made and you want to export it. If you, on each deployment on the main screen, there's that actions button. And if you click on that actions button, there's now an option in there that says export. And that will export the deployment plan along with all the details that you can then re-import. And I believe that that action is also available on the deployment itself, like the actual deployment page itself where you edit and whatnot, or the details screen after you've done a deployment. It's also on the details screen where it shows you all the how successful it was and whatnot. So it's in multiple places, so it's easy to find.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump back to the release notes, or do you want to go
Sure.
through?
Yeah, go back to the release notes.
Cool. There we go.
Let's see. The next one was. Can you read that one off for me? That second one.
The second, is it too small? I can zoom in a bit. Is that better?
Yes, let me just.
'Cause
There we go. I got it.
if it's too
All
small
right.
for you, it'll be too small for
Yeah.
everybody watching. So
Add the ability to export the installed software from a computer to a package's config file. So this was a request, I believe, and we were able to add in this functionality in this release. So now you can export all of the installed software that's on a computer to a package's config file that then you can install on another computer. So again, just kind of making it easier to do all the things here. But that button, I believe that's also in the documentation, where you can see that, and it's going here.
let me search for that. Oh, it's not on that page.
Yeah, it's
Be on the software page.
possibly, yeah.
Let's see what's in there. No.
Well, I know it's, yeah. Anyway, the button is, I believe it's green, and it's on the software page for a computer.
But very similar to that export to PDF button, wouldn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
The next one on the list was, let's go back here. Add retention policies for completed and archived deployment plans. So this one, if you've been in CCM 0.11.0, you'll notice that we've kind of reorganized the tabs in the settings area a little bit, and we've placed all the retention settings in one tab to make it a little bit easier to find and manage. So there are two options there for deployment plan retention, and how it works is there's an option to archive deployments after a certain amount of days, and there's also an option to delete deployment plans after a certain amount of days. If you happen to have both of them on, say you have archive deployments after 30 days and then delete after 30 days, it would archive after 30 days, and then after that 30 days, then it would do another 30 days for the delete. So they kind of work together there. It's not an either or. They kind of work together if both are on. But that will be good for helping to manage deployment plans and making sure that your tables don't get too big there and whatnot. The next one was add computers reporting into Chocolatey Central Management to an all computers group. On that one, now all of your computers that you have reporting in are automatically added to this group. And you'll see in your group table this new group, and it will have a little blue lock next to it. So you'll know what that is, and it makes it a little bit more obvious that this isn't a group you created, this was created by the system. And there's, if you hover over that little lock symbol, there will be a tooltip with some more information in there to show you exactly what it is. But this group, you're not able to edit or delete it. So it's there to use on deployments and hopefully make it a little bit easier to just have that group available to you. And then
I was going to say, I think that was a customer ask, Steph. I think there was a customer that asked for that all computers group to be created, and it came through our support team. And it wasn't that long ago. That was I think it was fairly recently that was asked for. So I'm glad we got that in so quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Add the ability to send email notifications when a deployment plan has finished. And if you want to go back into the deployment plan stuff, I know that we have some email templates on here. If you scroll down to kind of the bottom, yeah. Yep, you're right there. So these are kind of some screenshots of what the emails look like now, which is also, I think, in a later feature. But we've made these emails go out after a deployment has finished. So it will tell you the status of the deployment plan and some additional details about when it started and when it ended. And then if you were to click that deployment details button, it'll take you to the deployment so that you can see additional stuff. And just kind of while we're here, we can talk about these emails because we've made them look a little bit cleaner and they all match now. Just something little we've added in there. I think it makes a difference. So there's one of the emails, but all the emails that you get from us should look the same now. A little bit more styled. Let's see. I think those are all the features that we've added. So we can move on to bug fixes. So let's see, on the deployment step detail screen, when showing the contents of the log, the arrow highlighting wasn't extending. So this along with the next two right there on the screen are kind of all in the same area that we've fixed up the UI a bit. There were some minor bugs where if there was an error in the log on the deployment step details model, that it wouldn't extend to the end of the screen. So it kind of just cut off weird. So we fixed that up to make it look better. We also noticed the copy buttons on, I think it was on most of the copy blocks or the code blocks. When you hovered over it, the copy button would disappear. And which was kind of silly. It still worked, but you couldn't see it. So we decided that was pretty important to get working. So that now looks better and it works right. And then we had another small one where sometimes the errors were highlighted, not when it wasn't really an error, it was highlighting it. So this was just more of a UI thing, not anything else, but we fixed that up as well so that it is now correctly reporting all of the errors in the UI and they're highlighted right. The last one there on the list, the audit log retention does not clean up old log entries. This was a bug that I believe was introduced in 0.10.0, where audit logs weren't correctly getting deleted or not deleted. And we had some reports where they were filling up, and we were able to fix that bug in this release. So now all of the audit log retention is working as it should. And that setting is now good. Moving on to improvements. Add an option to provide a default value for the execution timeout in seconds on a deployment plan itself. So this one you'll see when you go into, I think this is also documented in the website usage. On the docs, but when you go in there, you'll see, let's see, I can find it. You'll see a new option there. Yeah, it's at the very top of the deployments page there. But you'll see a new global execution timeout in seconds box right there on the main edit deployment page. And changing this will set the execution timeout on all of the steps created after it. So if you wanted to change this to say 15,000 for some specific reason, then any step you create after it will inherit that value. Any step that you've created before you change this will retain its value, however. So say you created a step with the default value here. And then you changed it, and then you created another step. That step that you had created before will stay the same. So that's just something to be aware of and note. But that is how that works. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to set all those options globally. Back on the release notes, ensure a computer name and friendly name properties are in different fields on the API. So now if you were to use the API, the computer name and friendly name, they're in different properties so that you can grab them separately if you need to. Before they were all in the same property, so it was hard to get what you needed out of it without doing certain things. So now those fields are available separately. And move the action button to the first column in all the tables. This was a UI kind of fix up, which we can probably see kind of in the docs as well in certain images, but we've moved that action button to the first column in all the tables instead of the very last one. And that was done for consistency and also to make it a little bit easier to navigate. Yeah, there's one right there. To see the action button, because sometimes if you had a big long table, the action button you couldn't see it without scrolling. So hopefully this makes it a little bit nicer to be able to access that without scrolling or maybe missing it and not knowing it's there. So those should all be moved around now. And reinstate the return to deployments button when editing a deployment plan. There hasn't been any functionality that's changed with this, but in previous versions, we did have a cancel button and a return to deployments button on the edit deployment screen. I believe in an earlier version we took out the return to deployments button, but and we just had the cancel button, but we've just changed the text basically on the cancel button to say return to deployments. So it's a little bit more clear of what you're doing when you click that button. So now when you do click that button, it will return you to deployments just as it always did. And it will warn you, as well, if you have unsaved changes, asking you to save them or not save them, or whatever you would like to choose there. But it does warn you before you move away from that.
That was one of the ones that was causing some confusion. Excuse me. So we, as you said, we changed it in a previous version to make it clearer, but we actually made it less clear for some people. Some people getting confused by it, so we just kind of changed it back. So yeah, hopefully that helps people understand what that button does much clearer.
Remove the ability to assign a user to the Choco admin role. So this one was one that we had in the user roles section. I believe there was a Choco admin role along with all the other roles that we have, but I don't believe this role was ever really meant to be assigned to anybody. It's kind of a, it gives everybody everything role, and obviously that's not really what you want. So we've removed that role from the role screen right there. So it is now not selectable. And then I believe the last one we already talked about, update email templates for consistency. So we talked about that one when we saw those in the docs there. Another kind of one that we wasn't mentioned specifically in the release notes, but as you're kind of looking through the docs here, if you want to go back to the docs, Paul, you'll see there was some also just updates to the UI, and some of these kind of are done for accessibility to help improve that. But you'll notice, like on the buttons, some of the text is now black instead of white as it was before. Hopefully it's a little bit easier to see Same there with the left navigation. It's now black on blue. So hopefully, more contrast there. And then if you scroll up a little bit, some of our, scroll down one more, that next picture. There you go. Oh, yes, keep scrolling one more, sorry.
Which step? Was it step 2?
Step 3.
Step 3.
Yeah. You'll notice some of the alerts that we have now look a little bit different, but these should look similar to how you see them in the docs and our other Chocolatey websites. So we've updated the look of those as well. I believe that's mostly what has changed in 0.11.0. I'm disappointed I wasn't able to show you because we have a lot of cool stuff in there, and it's
Yeah, if you've just joined us, unfortunately Stephanie can't demo what we're going to demo today, so we're going to take you through some of the, so we've went through the changes themselves, talked about them, but we're actually going to show you some of these changes, particularly the features here at the top, the ability to import and export deployment plan definitions, for example. We're going to show that, but we're having technical difficulties, so that's not unfortunately able to happen today. But I think, Steph, just one of the things that you've mentioned, just to again bring it up in case people have just joined, is that we're going to create a repository of deployment plan templates. So this will be to give our customers examples of templates that they can use to do various different things. So I think one of them, for example, is just a simple one to install a package. There's another one to install multiple packages, and there's one to install packages with parameters. And so there really there is examples of what you can do with deployment plans, and give you some of the building blocks to be able to create your own and get ideas about what you can actually do. So we're working on that just now. We're actually hopeful it was going to be done by the time of this stream today, but unfortunately that's not happened. But it should be available either this week. Is that oh, Steph's now able to share her screen. But that should be available either maybe tomorrow or early next week. We're hoping there. So, and we'll be able to post more information about that when that's done. So keep an eye on our social media, and we will post details of that. Were you able to share your screen?
I think so. Can you guys see my CCM dashboard now?
I'll stop my screen sharing, and I think if we do this, there we go. Fantastic.
Are we able to see?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a learning experience there. Well, if you want, I can go ahead and kind of just walk through really quick here how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got 20 odd minutes left, so yeah, you can walk through that.
Perfect. So let me make this a little bit bigger here. Let's go. So here's our dashboard. Let's go to deployments here. So here's kind of, let's go through importing and deployment, just because this is one of the cool things we added. Here's the button here. So if we're going to go to import deployment, I actually have a deployment here ready to go that I can import. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this in. And you can see as I drop that in, it brought up the deployment name here, the deployment steps, and it's warning us that we have some advanced steps here. And right here, we've added a link to those templates that we were talking about that we hope to have up really soon. So hopefully this will be available soon, but when you click this, it will take you there so that you can view some examples as well. So we're going to go ahead and import this. And we were taken to our deployment that we just imported. Everything should be set here to go except for what I mentioned about the groups. So you will need to come in here and add your groups to the deployment. So if you were to select your groups, you do that, just go about like normal whenever you create one manually. There is also, if you don't have to do it manually right here, you can also edit as long as you know the group ID. You can put that in the exported JSON as well. So if you do know that group ID, you can go ahead and do that. And one way you can figure that out is by going to the API here. Oh, can you guys see my, it's supposed to be the Swagger UI, but I don't know if you can see that.
No, we can just see the deployment, edit and deployment at the moment.
Oh. Another learning thing. Well, if you were to go to the API here, and I believe it's the get all groups, you can click that and you can get the ID of the group that you want as well. So that's another way of figuring out what your group ID is, and then you can import that without having to edit anything. And if you were to save that, and then you can go about doing, everything as normal. So that was importing a deployment. And then down here we have the ability to export. So that's the export that we talked about a little bit ago. This is a deployment that I did beforehand. So we can see the, we have export to PDF, Excel, and now to JSON. So that's another way you can find the export. And we go into a step here. We can see the little minor UI things that we fixed up here was the script highlighting. So now it it extends the whole length here, so it doesn't cut off weird. And our errors are reported successfully, correctly. I mean, as sometimes they were before, sometimes they weren't. So now it is, and we can see the copy button, which is always useful. So all that should now be fixed up and working as it should. Another one we talked about was the exporting of software to a packages config file. So that one, we just go to a software. Let's go to that. So this is my client. We can now have this button right up here. So we export to packages config on our computer details screen. There it is. And that should make that file for you and download it. And
so once you've got that file downloaded, Steph, how can you deploy that onto a computer? Get that all not deployed. Sorry, is the wrong one. How can you get all that software installed onto a new computer?
I believe we have that all documented in our Chocolatey docs about how to use that packages config file to install that on a computer.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all documented in our docs.
Cool.
Let's see if we can find a link here to put there.
I'll pop the link, not to that page, but I'll pop a link to our docs site on the screen, actually.
Cool.
So that people can go and if you search for packages.config in the docs, or search is really, really good, you'll be able to find the link to that in there.
Yeah. Here's the settings that we've modified a little bit. So you can see, as I was mentioning, I believe there used to be an audit log tab right here, but we've renamed it to be retention policies. That way we can put all of the audit retention and the computer retention in under one place, so it's easier to find. But here is our deployment plan retention settings that we've put in place. So here's the enable deployment plan archiving, and the default is set to 30 days. We did that, and then here's the deployment plan deleting if we wanted to do that as well. So here's, it gives you a little bit more information underneath. So hopefully that's clear as to what they do. But those are new things that we have added in. I think that was most of the stuff, Paul. Can you think of anything I didn't show?
No, I think that covered most of it. I think the important one for us was to show that important the deployment plan, and
Mm-hmm.
bringing that through. So that was one we wanted to show. Something that Stevie actually reminded me about in the chat was, actually, I'm just going to bring up the little chat thing. Hold on, that one there. Um, so it's, this is one of the things that Stevie said. That was a Stevie ask, but it reminded me that actually quite a lot of our release notes were issues that were raised by Stevie. So they might not have been Stevie's ideas, just to because Stevie would, as our support manager, so he would have got those issues coming through in tickets, for example, from customers, but he would have raised the issue on our side. So I mean, I'm not looking at the docs just now, but I would say probably about a third of them were issues that Stevie had raised, to bring through. So Stevie does have ideas. He has lots of ideas, and also customers are passing those ideas through to him. So, and he's taking full credit for that. So yeah, Stevie's quite influential in what we do in the product, certainly in this release anyway. Um, but one of the other things I was going to mention was that, if we, again, I'm not going to bring the release notes up, but if you look at the issues, sorry, the release notes themselves, you can see the number of things that we've fixed, we've improved, we've added in as new features. There's not a, if you look at it, there doesn't appear to be a lot there. um, if I want to kind of put it that way. There was a lot of back end work that went in, behind the scenes, so to speak, on this release of Chocolatey Central Management, which took us about half the whole time that we'd allocated, to this particular, release. So that's why it looks like there's that's quite light on features, and bug fixes, etc. It's because of the amount of work that we did in the back end, things that, we wouldn't put in release notes because the customers and the community never see them. It's just work that we had to do to make sure that Chocolate Central Management is sustainable going forward and is easier, or is maintainable for the team. So, yeah, that was one of the things that somebody had mentioned, and I wanted to kind of bring that up and address it. But Steph, I think you can testify to, the amount of frustration, in this particular release of Chocolate Central Management, because you did a big part of that back end work that I kind of talked about. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it was. See, Steph doesn't even want to talk about it. That's how painful,
There's just so much
painful.
to say that I just don't even know what to say.
Yeah, most of it you
um,
couldn't say because we're on a live stream, but yeah, it was difficult. But we're looking to, in future releases of Chocolate Central Management, we've got a process for some of that work that we've done, and we'll hopefully make it easier going forward, so that, we'll be able to not be as frustrated when we're working with and doing that particular task. So, um, yeah, just again, just to reiterate, I said that Stevie brings things. It's the whole support team that, Stevie just volunteers to do the typing. The whole of the support team are obviously, addressing issues from customers. Customers are raising issues with them, and they're bringing them through to engineering in order for us to address those problems in the actual product themselves. So everybody has a part to play. But as, Chris said as well, some of them are good from Stevie, and but all of them are a little bit crazy. And as he used to say, he is the reason why I am bald. So that's there. Um, cool. So, we've got someone on the stream saying, yeah, the support has been great every time it's been needed. We do really try to make sure that we respond to, tickets that come in as quickly as possible. I can't remember what the most recent response time is. Stevie might pop it into the chat, but I've got a feeling it's probably less than 10 minutes, for that first response time. But Stevie will correct me on that, and bring us up the actual figure. I'm sure he's typing away as we speak. But I think we've kind of shown everything today that Steve has just said 9 minute response time. So I was almost right. So if you contact support, as soon as your ticket goes in, there's an on average 9 minute response time from the support team. Now that's pretty awesome. I don't really know of any other company that does that sort of response time. So that's fantastic. Okay, so we've gone through the release notes. We've kind of demoed some of the features. That's really all we wanted to look at today. We wanted to make sure that you were aware of what went into Chocolate Central Management and the new things that are available for you to have a look at. Um, so what we'll do now, Steph, is have you got anything else to add before we kind of wrap up?
Um, no, not really. Just thank you for everyone for sticking with me through my technical difficulties today.
Yeah, we got them resolved. That's the main thing. We got them
Yeah,
resolved. But
yeah, we
yeah.
got there.
Um, Okay, so yeah, just in closing, then, thanks Stephanie for being my co-host today and taking us through those demos and taking us through the release notes themselves as well. Thanks to everybody today for watching us. We really appreciate that you guys are following us on all the social media sites and coming along to the live streams to listen to the what were releases for the Chocolate Central Management. Chocolate CLI was one recently as well. So we'd really appreciate you spending time with us. But if you want to join us on those social media sites, please follow us on Twitch that we're streaming to just now and subscribe with the bell on YouTube where we're also streaming and you'll get notifications when we actually stream next time as well. You can join us on Discord and follow us on Twitter or X. Mastodon, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and Facebooks. As I said, we're on all the things, and you can find all of those links at the bottom of our homepage, chocolatey.org. Our next live stream is the Chocolatey Community Coffee Break on the 19th of October at 4 p.m. UTC, where we'll be chatting to the Chocolatey Software Support Manager, who's um, been chatting away in the chats. That's Stephen Valdinger. So yeah, we'll be chatting to him and asking him some of our interview questions and the usual interview questions they ask as well. If you haven't joined our Community Coffee Break live stream, before we ask some standard questions, but we also put in there other questions as well. But come along, it makes more sense if you come along and watch. But our next product spotlight live stream that will be on the 2nd of November, and that's also at 4 p.m. UTC. So we hope to see you all then. Thank you for joining us again. Take care. Bye bye.